Welcome to our Capital Recovery Center, where we focus on two key concepts. How can we help you with your recovery today, and what does recovery mean to you? Tune in Tuesdays at 10 a.m. to our coffee and conversation meeting, and Thursdays at 1 p.m. to our All Recovery meeting. For updated information, follow our Capital Recovery Center Facebook page.
Good morning. Welcome to our coffee and conversation. My name is Karen, and I'm one of your recovery coaches.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Craig. I'm a recovery coach.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael, one of your recovery coaches. How are you today? What else I got to tell you here? I'm missing somebody.
Recovery on Wheels will be out tomorrow at the Bridgeton Wendy's, right? Yeah, Bridgeton Wendy's from 10 to 2. And then again on Monday at the Bridgeton Police Department.
We're getting out there a lot. We're getting out there to that community. If you have anybody in need of any recovery service, please come out to the Capital Recovery Center or the Recovery on Wheels. And we will be able to help you in any areas or all things dealing with recovery or mental health issues. We can refer you to some services. So what else we got going on today, everybody?
Don't forget that we are now open.
Yes.
And you are welcome to come in, drop by, come toward the center, come visit us.
Yes, and pay attention to all our announcements and stuff. We're going to have start having different groups in the evening time, starting on the coming weeks. Our first evening night will actually be Tuesday, April 19th. We'll be open from till 9 p.m. in the evening time. Y'all want to see the lights on out there, so you want to see us. And we're going to have some type of meetings going on in the coming weeks, and we'll announce all that. But starting April 19th, we will have an evening hour. Oh, and we will have Saturday from 11 to 2. April 19th. And from Saturday, April 23rd, we will be here from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to be coming up with different programs, different ideas of things y'all can do during those times. And just stay tuned for all the announcements.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. Come on down to Capital Recovery Center. I want to do a movie now. I was talking about that last week. We do like a movie night, get some popcorn.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to do a movie night. Recovery movie. Well, it's not really a recovery movie, but I'm going to find a nice, good movie we can watch. Put my feet up. Let's go to what we got going on today.
How to establish boundaries in addiction recovery.
Nice. This is a good topic right here. This is a big one. This part right here is something that ADThealthcare.com website was provided. The link or the description, or the link, I'm sorry, is in the description on YouTube or on Facebook, and you can follow along with us. But this is a good topic to have because this is very important. Boundaries is very important to your success. And I still deal with this today, even coming up on 13 years, I still may pay attention to setting boundaries. So let's see what we got, Mr. Daniel. See what we got.
Let's get into it. How to establish boundaries in addiction recovery. Setting up boundaries in addiction recovery means placing limits on aspects of your life that are or have the potential to become harmful to you. You might set boundaries with people, situations, or places. You decide what things you will and will not allow in your life, and then you enforce said decisions in your life. This can help protect your physical, mental, and emotional health.
It says you decide what things you will and will not allow in your life. So you set boundaries. I always think about everybody has different family members or friends or that are doing things different than you are. You might once did it, but you don't do it now. So I said that like when we go to someone else's home for an event, right? The things that go on at the event is what that person who owns the home allows. Now, if they came to our home, the same things that we just experienced last weekend won't be allowed at our home. Why? Because that's our boundary. We set the boundaries of what we decide, what things we allow or what things we won't allow. And that's the exact same way in your recovery. Well, you got to set the boundaries. You have to do that.
And so you give us a table of contents of boundaries. All right? I'm gonna read 14 of them, and I'll just read it.
No, those are the table of contents for the article.
All right, for the article?
Yeah.
Okay, for the article, and there's 14. Important of boundaries, addiction and boundary, 6 different aspects. It says types of boundaries, boundaries and relationship, unhealthy boundaries, healthy boundaries, setting boundaries, committing to boundaries, strong boundaries, signs, communicating boundaries, 5 things to remember, overstep boundaries, and the reference.
All right. So how important are healthy boundaries? How important are healthy boundaries in addiction recovery? Boundaries during addiction recovery are beneficial for a variety of reasons. Boundaries can help a person resist temptation by keeping distractions and temptations minimal. It can also help a person develop the skills to say no and gain self-worth rather than giving everything to the substance. Setting boundaries can help people begin to value their own self and mental and physical health. So it's important for us to have healthy boundaries. So it helps. It says it can also help a person develop the skills to say no. If you set up your boundaries right, it'll put you in the area where saying no will become easier. Because a lot of times people think peer pressure only deals with youth. Adults experience peer pressure as well. It just don't seem like it get talked about as much, especially in recovery, addiction recovery. If you're around a whole bunch of people, it's harder for you to say no, especially if they're doing things that you used to do. So you gotta set boundaries in that area. All right.
Why do people struggling with addiction have no boundaries? When people struggle with addictions, they typically do not have very healthy or strong boundaries. This problem could have started in childhood if their parents were neglectful or overly strict. When someone has an addiction, they also generally have weakened logic and decision-making skills and are willing to do almost anything to get the substance they desire.
That's so true.
Weekend logics. That struck my attention. Because we try to justify. I'm not gonna do nothing all week, but when the weekend comes, I'm gonna let my hair down. Well, I lost mine, but those who have hair,
let the head down.
Let your hair down. But there have to be boundaries and decision-making skills that comes along with those type of choices.
And this says that if they don't have a healthy or strong boundary, the problem could have started in childhood if their parents were neglectful or over strict. So you mess up the person's ability to have set these boundaries, or it just be like you basically wasn't taught any of them. You know what I mean? So as a child, you be like, boundaries, everything goes in this house. What you talking about? Everything goes. Everybody come in when they want, go out when they want. What do you mean boundaries? Nobody has boundaries. But when it was saying that decision-making skills are willing to do almost anything to get the substance, that's so true. When a person don't have any boundaries, they'll do anything. That's why sometimes I caution people that deals with individuals struggling with a substance use disorder. And it's not to judge the individual, but I tell them to use caution because when a person is actively using, there's no boundary. They'll do anything if in regards to getting the substance. So that's why you gotta always use cautions in different areas. It's not about judging individuals. I'm saying that from personal experience. That I used to tell my wife, I don't even trust me. So don't trust me. When I was active, I was like, I don't know. Whatever I need to do to get the substance is what I'm going to do. So you got to remember, decision-making skills are willing to do. They are willing to do almost anything to get the substance they desire. That is very important.
Let's talk about the 6 different aspects of boundaries and recovery.
All right, let's talk about it. What we got?
Number 1, boundaries with family. These are boundaries that you set up with family in your life. This can be especially important if you have family members that are not sober themselves.
I know you my cousin,
Yeah,
but that thing you got in your hand is triggering me. You gotta get away from that.
that barbecue that you talking about inviting me over,
Yeah.
there's going to be drugs and alcohol. I don't think I'll be able to attend that one. So we have to make conscious decisions when it comes to family. You know, they may get upset with you. Oh, you too good now.
That's okay though, as long as you remain sober.
Yeah, absolutely.
No man.
So,
Are we gonna take turns?
Yeah, go.
Number 2 is boundaries with friends. As you recover, you may find that you have to make boundaries with friends. This means you may have to remove some people from your life who you used to drink or use with.
Boundaries. Hold on, let me see. Definitely have to make boundaries with your friends if they're actively using. Sometimes you have to just get away from them because telling them to get away from you is good, but sometimes you have to remove yourself away from them. Boundaries with social activities. You may have to avoid going to certain types of social events in order to stay sober and protect your well-being. Change of place. You gotta find different places to go. I know you like to be socializing, but some activities might still trigger you.
and number 4, boundaries with work. It is good to stay busy, but you need to set boundaries to maintain balance so you do not get too stressed and struggle more to remain sober. You know, a lot of times, especially a lot of people in early recovery, I used to do it myself. Even when I was using, I would get so frustrated and stressed out. I had lack of coping skills, and I would just use call myself just to unwind. But there's other ways, alternative ways that we can, if you find yourself doing that, call your counselor.
Somebody reach out.
Call your sponsor. Call your recovery coach.
Come on out
and unwind that way. Have a positive conversation.
Call us up.
Yeah.
What's next? It's on me, right?
Yeah.
Boundaries with a significant other. You may need to set boundaries and communicate what ways you are expecting your significant other in your relationship to change or adapt around you. That's important because there's a lot of individuals who have significant others that are currently using. That's going to be that's a challenging and honestly, if you're in a relationship like that, you want that person to get help, but always remember that you can only control you, not them.
Yeah, because we had a guy who came here and says, "I want to go to treatment, but
she need a bed too.
She need a bed. She ain't, and I don't want to leave her out here."
And he ended up not going.
Yeah, so something to consider.
Something to consider.
Boundaries with oneself. You will need to establish your own beliefs and values and then maintain them.
Yeah, that's good.
Types of boundaries in addiction recovery. Below, we have listed the most important types of boundaries to establish during addiction recovery. And the first one is physical. Physical boundaries are the boundaries a person set in place to protect their personal space, privacy, and safety. You can decide how close you want to physically allow people, if you want to be greeted by people with a hug or a handshake, etc. Everyone's personal physical boundaries will vary based on their personal preferences, traumas, mental illnesses, and past. Well, that's something to think about.
Yeah, that is, because everyone's personal physical boundaries will vary.
Yeah.
it's based on a personal preference. You know what I mean? So
some people don't like to get hugged.
Yeah, because of trauma, you know, or they rather give a handshake, you know, just so.
So it means that each one varies. You know what I mean? It might be okay with this person, but it's not okay with that person.
Yeah.
And your mental boundaries are boundaries you set for your mind. You can set boundaries about what kind of information you allow into your mind and can choose not to watch, listen, etc. Any information that accesses you. So that's good. You know what I mean? What you feed your mind is very important. You also have the right to set boundaries with anyone who is mentally abusive. Finally, you have the right to decide who you share your thoughts and feelings with and when. So you need to set mental boundaries. When you set mental boundaries, you certain stuff you don't watch, or certain stuff you watch. If you watch it, you probably can't watch a whole lot of it. You know, certain things just don't put you in the right mental state.
Yeah, and only confide in people that you feel confident sharing your information with. You know it's not going to share your information because you know you want to trust a professional person or a close family member that will be there to help you along the way.
Go ahead.
Material boundaries are boundaries you place around the things you own. You can decide what you want to do with your possessions, who you want to allow to use them, etc. For instance, you get to decide who reads any journals you keep, who gets to know how much money you make, and you lend your things to.
Material. That's my stuff, man. Leave it alone.
Territory.
Yeah. I was thinking about material boundaries. I was thinking about I was telling one of my grandkids stop getting on something. I think it was the treadmill. He kept running on it. He kept running. I said, yo, stop hooking, stay off of it. So you know how the treadmill runs this way? He keep running across it this way. Instead of running, every time he run that way, that's what we run pop. And then I'm like, he like it. You know, boys is crazy. He like, I'm like, yo, you see it? I can do it. I said, man, I'm gonna have to set some boundaries, man. I told you, I'm gonna have to unplug it, man. You gonna go and kill yourself, man. But you know, you gotta set boundaries on material stuff, man. Don't touch my stuff, man. Leave it alone. So I just had to hold him up walking with it.
All right.
Emotional, it's you?
Yeah. Emotional boundaries stem from the idea that you are responsible for your feelings and not other people's feelings. You can get to decide how you protect your emotional health, and you also get to set boundaries with how much of other people's emotional challenges you want to take on. You know, sometimes people can drain you.
Oh, sometimes, I'm telling you, that's, I never thought, when they used to say it when I was younger, I was like, man, that's actually impossible. How you say, man, you drain me? And then I had people who every time you talk to them, it's like always wrong. Like, oh, this is not right, this is not right. And I feel it like draining on me. Like, man, can you call me one day and say, hey, man, you know, I feel good today. It drains on you. So, but you got to set those boundaries. It's possible because I got very selective. I look at that phone ringing and I say, I ain't picking that up. I can't. I gotta set boundaries because if you don't set those boundaries, you're gonna pull on your own stuff. And the last one I think is I think the last one, spiritual. Spiritual boundaries promote spiritual health. You get to choose your own spiritual path and decide what you believe for yourself. You can then set boundaries to protect your spiritual life from those who want to try to convert you, insult you, or challenge your belief. Furthermore, if you don't want to explain your belief to someone, you don't have to. That's up to you. My wife and I always say, man, you got the right to choose and believe what you want to believe. This is just what we believe. So everybody has their own spiritual boundary. That's the way it works, and it's up to you to choose what boundary you will want to deal with. What we got next here? Boundaries in toxic relationships. Oh, toxic relationships are any relationship that causes emotional or physical harm to either party. As you become sober, you may start to see where relationships are toxic that you did not before. When you do so, it is important to start setting up boundaries. Some people you may need to remove from your life completely, while others may just need to set up boundaries to protect yourself as you repair your relationship. This is so funny right here. Well, not really funny. Boundaries in toxic relationship is because when last week I was when I went to the nail salon, the lady was in there. She found out I was a drug counselor at Cali Recovery Center. They said, do the counselors help with toxic relationships? I said, what? She said, do they got treatment down there for coming out of toxic relationship? And I said, wow, that's funny. But that was ironic that she said that Thursday, and I just read it right here. Like, oh, shoot, I might have to send this link to the video. Toxic relationships are relationships that causes emotional and physical harm to either party. And that's exactly what she was saying. She said it's not physical, it was emotional. And I said, wow, that's something. So boundaries in toxic relationship, you have to control that. And I will seek out all types of advice in that area or find out some type of expertise in that area.
Examples of unhealthy boundaries and addiction recovery. Not all boundaries are healthy boundaries. Anytime your boundaries or lack of them hurt you or those around you, they are unhealthy and can become a problem. Some examples of unhealthy boundaries are: bullet number one, forcing your beliefs and opinions on other people.
Should go.
Bullet number two, discrediting or discouraging the beliefs and emotions of others. Ignoring and challenging your beliefs simply because others want you to. Defining yourself based on what other people say. Oh, wow. Taking on responsibility for other people's thoughts and feelings. Those are some draining boundaries.
Yeah.
As I say, unhealthy, because now you are neglecting your health sake for someone else.
Forcing your beliefs and opinions on others. Discrediting and discouraging the beliefs and emotions of others. And that's powerful because I always used to tell my wife, man, you can't feel like that. She said, can you please tell me how you know how I feel? Because you actually can't tell me I don't feel that way. So can you tell me how you got in my body? Can you please tell me how is it possible that you know how I feel? I said, you can't feel like that. How you know that? That's discrediting and discouraging the beliefs and the emotions of others. So that's an unhealthy boundary. And ignoring changing your beliefs simply because others want you to. Defining, this one's a good one. Defining yourself based on what other people say. Like, I'm this because they said it. Nah. Man. I never had that actual I always had the mindset, even when I was actively using substances, when people called me one thing, I always said, man, no, I'm not. And I was in the heart of my addiction. They was like, man, you a drug addict. I was like, I ain't no drug addict, man. I just would not allow what they said to be my reality, even though I was actively struggling with it. Taking on responsibility for other people's thoughts and feelings. You can't burden yourself on with others. These are all unhealthy boundaries. All right, next one. Healthy boundaries and addiction recovery. Let's look at this. It says below are some examples of boundaries that are healthy as they protect you and do not harm other people. Expressing your thoughts and emotions to others in a calm and a clear fashion. Easy to express yourself. Respecting other people's beliefs and values. Other people believe certain things that are different from yours. Are you able to be in a circle, in a group, or in a person's presence and they have different beliefs and values? I had to learn over the years to actually be around people who have different beliefs and values and want to listen to them. And like, yo, oh, that's what I can see how you know, oh yeah, I believe this and I believe that. I like to sit around people who have different opinions or different views. Respecting your own beliefs and values no matter what other people's opinions. Being authentically you, not who others think you are or should be. That's me. That's me all day. I'm just confident and I can't be nobody else but myself. You got to be the same way. You got to be you no matter what other individuals say. Taking responsibility for your thoughts and actions. Everything you think. I learned this too. Everything you think, you don't got to say it. You might think so. Don't open up your once you let it come out your mouth, it's over. It's gone. It's like left out your lips and you can't like catch it in the air, like come back.
It's like sending a text.
Yeah, don't hit send. Oh man, I remember I was on the phone looking for an app to delete text. I said, oh, it gotta be app. It gotta be app. I said, man, yeah.
With typo.
Typo, yeah. Remember Kane was sending typos in the group text. Yo, I love you. Emojis. No, you were sending emojis, remember?
Send something, but whatever
It was something. You was like, my bad.
immediately. Typo.
Hey, my bad. That meant to go to. Oh man, yeah. Examples of healthy boundaries in addiction recovery. Let's get one more.
Setting strong boundaries in recovery. Setting boundaries in recovery is an important part of getting and staying sober. Having strong boundaries about things like drugs and alcohol in the home will help prevent you from relapsing. If you do not allow those who bring substances into your home or life, you will have less temptation. Boundaries like these with yourself and others are key to staying sober.
So true.
That is true.
Don't allow it in the house. My family that are still like drinking and doing whatever, if we having something at my house, the joke was my cousins and nieces and nephews say, man, we got to do that before we get to our house. We like, we can't even stand out back with his porch. Nah, man. And the reason why I do that is because I set boundaries. It says setting strong boundaries in recovery. Because even though I truly believe that none of that stuff will make me want to go do it, but why tempt myself or put me in a situation? Let me just try it out. Like you come over here, you do this. No, setting strong boundaries in recovery is very important. You got to set some strong boundaries. Well, this is we can do next week, right?
Yeah.
You want to do the other one? What was that?
Yeah, we're at the sign. No, maintaining committed.
Maintaining committed to boundaries and sobriety. When you make boundaries, the key is staying committed to them. That's true. Don't break your own boundaries. It can be hard to do so, especially when the boundaries mean you have to do something you did not want to do, or don't do something you do. It can also be hard when you have to enforce boundaries with loved ones. So true. But if you do not stick to them, they do not benefit you at all. Plus, once you break a boundary, it's harder to start enforcing it again. I say that all the time. When you let something go for a long period of time and then try to say, hey, that's it, we can't do that. It's like, nah, it's not gonna work.
And people can be so persistent in trying to, violate your boundaries.
All the time. Yes. But and then if you give them a break on it, they like, oh, well, I got it been last time. If I keep pushing, I can get this boundary break. Then next thing you know, they champing miles on the deck. They rolling up stuff on the board. Go ahead, you can smoke over here. Next thing you know, you got paper all in your yard. Listen.
Party over here, over my job. Party over Craig now.
Once you let it go, once you let the boundary go, it's hard to maintain or commit to boundaries. How many more we got on here?
Yeah, a couple more. You want to just finish?
Yeah, let's do it.
Signs for your boundaries are getting stronger, right?
Yep.
Whether you're the one setting or or adhering to the boundaries, there are some clear signs that they are working. It's all about having the confidence to establish boundaries. So you have to notice any of the below lately. Can you say no without guilt? Just well, you accept my yeses, you accept my no's. All right?
Without feeling guilty.
Without feeling guilty. All
Feel
right.
great to say no without feeling guilty.
Yeah. There you go. Great. Now,
Nope.
So you want, let's see, so you do what you want and need, not what others want you to do. You do not take on the responsibility of keeping others happy.
Yeah.
You take things less personally.
Good point.
You can have disagreements and maintain a relationship. That's so true. You can act on your feelings when necessary. You do not take responsibility for others' thoughts, emotions, or actions. You can both give and receive. Good. You are less angry and resentful.
That's good. You take things less personal. A lot of times we can get through when we see signs of your boundaries are getting stronger. It's when you start taking things less personal. It's not all the time personal while people do things or say things. If you take it less personal, I think you'll get a lot more sleep at night. You'll be like, man, you know what? That's their issue, not mine.
You can have disagreements and maintain a relationship.
It's okay to have disagreements.
You know what I mean?
I'm reading a book. I'm gonna see about our boss. I'm shameless plug. Getting everybody this book. It's called The Ideal Team Player. And it's awesome. And it talks about like taking things less personal and having disagreement and still maintaining a relationship. Like if I can't have a disagreement with you and still have a relationship with you, then that's actually
never had no relationship.
Yeah. If we
One sided, right?
once I disagree, now I went from a bad person to a good person to a bad person.
Because I disagree.
Because I disagree. Communicating boundaries in addiction recovery. When you are communicating your boundaries to those in your life, you need to do clearly and firmly. You need to do so clearly and firmly. You need to make sure that understanding exactly what your boundary is and that you will be enforcing it strictly. However, it is important to try to avoid aggressive and exert yourself calmly rather than angrily. And try to do it in a calm manner. Listen, this is a boundary I have set up. I'm communicating this boundary to you. This is something that has nothing to do with you. This is about me developing whatever I'm doing. So if you learn a better way of communicating it, I was also reading in the book that each leaders can have similar skills, but one know how to use the skills properly. It could be two leaders with the similar type of skills. One know how to communicate to the people one way, and the other one doesn't. That doesn't mean that that person is less than that person. It's just that this person know how to communicate. So communicating your boundaries in addiction recovery is important because people that you are telling about the boundaries you have set up won't take it personal. You let them know these are the boundaries I set up for my addiction recovery process, and this is to help keep me on track. All right, let's get
What do we do when boundaries are overstepped?
nice.
If a loved one is not respecting your boundaries because they do not understand or are doing so on accident, you can talk to them and perhaps even ask them to attend a support group or therapy with you or by themselves. However, if they are repeatedly disrespecting your boundary and are not willing to work to stop, it can be better to distance yourself from them.
That's two good points because one of them they might don't understand.
Yeah.
So invite them to a meeting, Capital Recovery Center, coffee conversation, all recovery meeting, shameless plug. But you can invite them so they can learn some stuff. And then
They might,
if they don't change, distance yourself from them because remember you're the most important person in the equation at that particular time.
and that is
Staying free.
that is your recovery.
That's your recovery.
Right.
Your recovery is the most important thing because if you don't take care of your recovery process, the family or your loved ones is going to suffer anyway. So we want to remind y'all, these meetings can be, you can come to the meeting in person. You can be in here. You don't have to be on the camera. You can sit, and we got plenty of chairs. And we're going to have a meeting here at Thursday, 1 p.m., all recovery meeting. We might be outside if it's nice.
We got a spotlight?
Spotlight recovery, we're having one, I believe Friday. I got to reach out to somebody today. All right, guys, we see you next week, part 2. We're going to be talking about more boundaries.
Yeah.
Good topic.